Yo, yo, yo. Been a minute. Been a minute. Crazy. Crazy how long it's been since I've actually streamed. Um Honestly, I like kind of lost at what to say. Let's hop in. Let's see if I can get people in the building first. All right, here we go. We got somebody already liking it. That's fantastic. I hope you guys have all your turkey on the smoker already. Um, God, man, this is crazy. This used to be just like secondhand for me. I just pop in, no big deal, unplanned. Texans, lots of things going on in the Texans world right now. Kind of crazy to think about where the Texans are at right now compared to what we expected them to be in the offseason. Like, this team is drastically different than what anybody thought. They already surpassed their win totals, and when you like look at the Texans and how they're winning games, it's truly wild to think about the fact that a lot of it's happening with quarterback play, which is the one thing that we never would have thought. I mean, not never would have thought, but like nobody expected CJ Stroud to be this level of great. And when you think about the Texans, there's just it's so hard not to go into the past when you talk about where the Texans are currently, right? Like, that's such an important piece because 3 years ago, this team was down and out in a way that I don't think any other sports franchise was down and out, right? Like, just like take 10 seconds. No, fuck that. Let's take 20 seconds. In 20 seconds, think about all of the history of sports that you know since you've been a fan. And think, has there ever been a sports franchise to ever experience what the Houston Texans experienced over the last 3.5 years? And I'll wait. Like, put it in the comments. If there is another team or another franchise that I'm not thinking about, please put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. But like, off the top of my head, I can't think of one thing. I can't think of one team, one situation. I can't think of any other time we have seen anything like this. And if we go back to when Nick Caserio was hired, and it's funny that the topic came up yesterday from Kay Adams, right? Like, there has been so much scrutiny and so many questions leading up to this season about Nick Caserio. And if you take into account what he had to do to get to this point, it's really wild to honestly think about where this team is at. Like, okay, Derek Stingley hasn't lived up to the pick so far, right? Injuries have played a part, but when he's been on the field, he's been a great corner. Kenyon Green has not turned into anything, right? That might be a whiff pick. Outside of that, like, what else can you truly criticize this dude for? I mean, he has turned the bottom of the bottom NFL roster into a playoff contender slash AFC South contender based on just this week alone. If they win this game, they are in the lead of the AFC South. Nick has been very, very good. Very, very good. And there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk about what Nick Caserio had to do and or hasn't done. There were so many different things that were going on, and he was criticized for every move. You know, not signing top free agents, going with like the 1 to 2 year veteran deals, and look how that's Blake Cashman on a 1-year veteran deal, 19 tackles, a sack, a pass deflection, and a tackle for loss. Nick Caserio has done a really good job constructing this roster, and it's truly turning into exactly what we wanted it to be. What we want, this team is exactly what we thought this team would be when we got Deshaun Watson. Let's just be real. Like, this team right now is exactly what we expected it to be when we had Deshaun Watson in his prime. Like, seriously, think about that. Like, we right now where we're at, we should had the Deshaun shit never happened. This is where we should be every year, except we shouldn't lose to Carolina and Atlanta, right? And those are going to come. Like that, those type of losses happen to young teams because they're learning how to win. They're trusting each other. They're building the camaraderie. They're building the chemistry. Interchanging at the offensive line positions. This team is literally already where, and may have surpassed. Might be bold, but may have surpassed where this team was with Deshaun Watson in his prime. Like, if this team goes into the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a game. I wouldn't be. This team is just a different team right now. And all praise and flowers need to go to Nick Caserio. All flowers need to go to Cal McNair and Hannah McNair. Probably not something that I thought I'd be saying entering, what is this, week 11? I probably would have never thought I would be saying something like that this early on into the season, but they deserve a lot of credit. They deserve a lot of credit. And D'Amico Ryans has been as advertised, right? Not as many mistakes as like we normally see with rookie head coaches. Bobby Slowick is like, I understand why. I understand the complaints that came from Bobby, or it came about around Bobby from weeks 1 through, I don't know, 8, 9 with the run game. But what we've seen over the last 2 weeks, like, CJ deserves a ton of credit. 100%. Like, I want to make sure that this isn't like, I'm not taking away from CJ Stroud. CJ has been great. 3 interception game. I don't care. He was great in that game too. But man, what Bobby Slowick has done with this offense, it's truly insane to think what this team is and what this team will likely be. Like, we're literally scratching the surface right now. There's so much more that can happen. Drew Scruggs is returning back to practice for the first time this season. Dieter's been okay. Patterson was great. Like, we fixed the center position, which was one of the biggest issues this team had over the last 2 years. Obviously, guard 2, right? That seems to be fixed, even with Kenyon gone. Like, Bobby Slowick, oh, let me be easy here. If you watch the way he schemes this offense, dude, it's chef's kiss, hands down. This dude is Mike McDaniels, if not a little bit better, right? Like, compare the offenses and compare the offensive skill players. No Tyreek Hill, no Jalen Waddle. Like, but turning Tank Dell into that, and Nico Collins and Robert Woods and Noah Brown, and guys that, Noah Brown was a cast off from the Cowboys. He didn't have any of those games that he's had so far. He had 2 back-to-back 150-yard games this season. He didn't do that once in Dallas. Bobby Slowick deserves a lot of credit. This whole team, like, it is Thanksgiving. I am so thankful that this team is where they are currently. I'm super thankful. My Sundays have never been more stress-free. Even on games like Sunday, I wasn't stressed out. I mean, I don't have a ton of expectations as far as like win-losses go, but like, I just expect this team to be in every game, and they pretty much have been. And this week against the Jaguars for the division so far, right, to take the division lead, it's wild. It's wild because the Jaguars were the offseason darling, right? All offseason, you heard it on the Ringer podcast. You heard it every Trevor Lawrence, Calvin Ridley's now added. And then they get dusted in Duval by the Texans. And then you have to think like this defense is getting better, right? There are so many different parts of this defense that still need to step up. Jalen Petrie has been missing. He's on a milk carton, has been on a milk carton for the last 8 weeks. New defensive scheme, in and out, the same, pretty much the same thing he's always faced. In and out, and like another safety paired next to him. Seems to be different every other week, right? Jimmy Ward hasn't really filled that role yet. Jimmy Ward has really kind of been a disappointment, if we're being honest, based on a lot of things. Jimmy Ward has really not been the player that we expected him to be. But this defense has another level to get to. Will Anderson has been as advertised. Jonathan Grenard, you're going to have to sign him. This guy is an absolute stud. And I expect them to eat on Sunday. Like, absolutely eat. I expect them to. I don't think this game is going to be close. I really don't. I think the Texans are going to come out firing on all cylinders extremely quick, and they're going to establish a lead very, very early, and they're not going to look back. This team is primed to make a good run this season for what the expectations were. And I don't mean like Super Bowl but I mean getting to the playoffs. Like, it's really hard to not believe that with this offense, this team won't be in the playoffs. And even with this defense, right? Like the Cardinals game, the defense won that game for them. They're winning in different ways. They're winning in all the ways that Bill O'Brien wanted to win in, right? Complementary football. That was always his go-to statement. We never really ever got to see it. There were so many times that complementary football didn't happen, and because it didn't happen, the teams, I mean, God, the Chiefs playoff game, right? Like, there was no complimentary football. And this team now is playing it at an extremely high level, given the fact that they aren't the most talented team in the league. And they're not probably a top 10 roster in this league, if we're being honest. But it shows you what scheme and coaching can do to a team. And D'Amico and Bobby Slowick and Matt Burke, Nick Caserio, they've laid it all on the line. And they've showed that, like, if you have the right guys leading your men, anything's possible. And we're continuing to see it week in, week out. And it's just awesome. So I am thankful for the Houston Texans and what they've put together, the product they put together on the field. This team it's just been such a fun season. Like, this is literally how we were supposed to feel for the last 3 years when we had if we would have had the same franchise quarterback that we had before everything. And it's just crazy to think about. And like, this team is well ahead of where they're supposed to be. Imagine what next year is going to look like. Like, not that the season's over. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. I mean, when the Giants won the Super Bowl, they were a wild card team. Like, things happen. It's crazy. And you never know what can happen. I don't think we pick up Leonard. No. I don't think that they're going to want to bring in somebody like that. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know. I just don't see like an addition like that happening this late in the season. But I mean, possibly. Excuse me. Sorry, allergies are acting up now. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I expect a total beatdown on Sunday. I expect the Texans to take the division lead. They'll be a game up on the Jags. This team is just great. This team is just fun. They're fun to talk about. Yeah, I love everything about it, man. I really hope this continues, and I can't see why it wouldn't. So, all right, 15 minutes, Thanksgiving Day. Promise you guys I would give you something, though, and I wanted to make sure I did. I got to check on the turkey. I got some other things I got to get to, too, but maybe you could rotate and fight for a starting job next offseason. Possibly, but like, why would Indy just if he was talented still and he was still like that guy, why would Indy just let him go? That's just hard for me to believe. But look, it's Thanksgiving Day. I just wanted to give you guys some time. I'll try to do this more. Really hard with everything I got going on, but I will find time to figure out another way to do this when I can. I appreciate all of you guys supporting me, just in general. Like, I literally a ton of shout out. Like every time I post something about the brand that I'm building on Twitter, you guys are all over. Like just engagements and feedback and support and love. Like I really do appreciate you guys for giving me all of that, and like I'm so thankful, and I'm excited to continue to do this. But yeah, I don't want to take any more time talking about that. Just want to say thank you guys. I hope you guys all enjoy time with your family. Hope you guys enjoy your turkey, your ham, mashed potatoes, um, macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce, all that. Enjoy some good football today. Get ready for Sunday's game against the Jaguars. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a great game. This is probably the biggest game that this team has had in the last 4 years, if we're being honest. Um, so, with that being said, Young Ari Gold signing off for Texans Unfiltered. I hope you guys have a great week, a great weekend, and enjoy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Y'all have a great day.